Hey, everybody.
Hey, love.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, Ebbs, I'm going to make you a host, a co-host, because I need you to admit people. I do think now they are requiring it. When I try to create a new link for something else today, it said you either have to have a waiting room or you have to have a passcode. And that sucks. I didn't think I would have to do that. Okay, so we are going to continue our masterclass for tonight. This is a continuation from 2 weeks ago. I'm almost certain, and I feel really proud of myself for doing this because most of the time I don't ever write down where I stopped, but I think I stopped a couple weeks ago where we talked about skill and will. And we were talking about you have to have both skill and will, but will is where most people fall short. So it's not that a lot of people don't have the skills to be successful in network marketing. Most of the time people don't have the will, okay? So really be looking at your will to win, okay? Your will to succeed, your will to follow through until the end, until something is completed, okay? That's huge. So will is really going to increase your effectiveness, and it takes will also to develop the skills. Okay, so don't underestimate will, all right? Now I'm going to segue into something that I learned years ago about, I was a psychology major, y'all. That's what I did. I did home-based family therapy and worked with adjudicated youth and did counseling for years before I became an educator. And there's two types of stress. There's distress and eustress, okay? There's two types of stress, distress and eustress, okay? And you're gonna have this going on in your journey at all times, okay? There's three levels, okay, of where people land in this type of business, okay? You've got those people that they're the dreaders, okay? They dread having to do this. They dread having to get on the phone with people. They dread having to post. They dread having to follow up. They dread having to reach out. They dread having to get their list of 30 if they're in an accountability group. They dread a lot of things in this business. And when you dread something long enough, you're dealing with distress. You're in distress, okay? That's the bad type of stress. Those people end up quitting. Okay, so you really need to evaluate where are you based on these three kind of categories that people fall into in this type of business. Okay, so one is you're dreading it. Okay, the second area where people fall is that they're in that comfort level. So they're not dreading having to do all the things I just said. And all the things I just said, y'all, are income producing activities or income or close to income producing activities. Posting is not income producing, but it can lead to income produce, okay? It can lead to you producing income, but it's not directly income producing, all right? You always wanna make sure you're doing something that is income producing, all right? So when you've got distress, okay, you're dreading it, okay? A lot of people who end up quitting, they camp out here in this dreading phase, okay? The people where most people camp, about 95% of people camp out here. We've got about 45 people on the call now. So that means about 40 of you camp out here. And that's a comfort level, okay? Where you're comfortable. So you're not dreading doing all those things, but you're doing all the things mainly that are comfortable for you. So as soon as Robin or your team leader or whoever ends up asking you to do something that's out of your comfort zone, you start to get a little bit of distress, right? Okay. 95% of y'all camp out in comfort. So you need to think about, where are you? Okay. Where are you? Now, the third area where people usually end up when they reach the pinnacle of success in this type of business is that they end up in the dream stage, okay? The dream stage is, this is where my climbers are. People that are constantly climbing, they're constantly improving themselves. They're constantly immersing themselves any and everything to gain the skill and the will. Okay. This is where you want to strive to be. Okay. Not a lot of people are in this category. Okay. When you're in the dream phase, phase 3, this is when you are experiencing eustress. Eustress is the good type of stress. Okay. The reason I'm talking about stress is because a lot of times people, they shy away from any type of pressure. Stress is pressure. And when you're dealing with eustress is the good type of stress. So it's not a bad thing to experience eustress. Okay. So where do you land? So determine where you're headed, guys, and do not waver. Please mute yourselves, guys. Make sure that you really focus on determine where you are, okay, where you're headed, and I want you to camp out there. Do not waver, all right? In order to stay strong, though, guys, there's a couple of things that you're going to need to do. Trust me, I'm literally the expert at this because I've been doing this for 7 years now. And it's easy when you've been doing this as long as I have, almost a decade. Like I'm probably, yeah, soon I will have done this as long as I was in education, which is, I went to school to do those things, got a master's in public administration, all the things. So in 3 years, I'll be right at that 10-year mark. That's exactly how long I was in education. So when you're trying to stay strong in an industry like this, and you're trying to stay above the fray, you've got to find some sort of energy source to plug into, okay? I.e. your team, i.e. a power partner, a sideline sister, a sideline brother. You want to plug into your spiritual source. That's why so much of this journey I talk about my faith, because that is an energy source for me. You want to plug into your mentor, okay? You have to have some way to find an energy source and plug into that. Every battery gets drained, y'all. Do y'all understand that? Every battery gets drained. So if every battery gets drained, okay, and let's use ourselves as analogies, as comparison, we are a battery, okay? It's natural for you to get drained. That's not abnormal, it's natural, okay? Especially in a business like this, where it is completely up to you. If it is to be, it's up to me. Okay, so it's easy to get drained. However, you have to have that energy source or a place to plug back in and get recharged. Motivation is an inside job. I'm going to say that again. Motivation is an inside job. You cannot rely on your upline, your sponsor, your friend, your boo, your whoever, to motivate you. Motivation is an inside job, okay? So while you need to have some sort of energy source to plug into, who has to actually do the plugging in? You do. That's why I'm saying motivation is an inside job. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Because you can't rely on your sponsor to be that source for you. You can seek that person out, right? Hey, I really need to talk to you. I really need a pep talk. I really need to come to Jesus meeting, something, okay? That's fine if you want to do that, but you have to take the initiative, because motivation is an inside job. That's super important for you to understand that. And know that it's normal to get drained, and that you just need to get recharged and plug in somewhere, plug into an energy source, okay? You also want to become an expert at what you do, so no one can eat your lunch, okay? You want to become an expert. Some of you guys, you are heavily reliant on your sponsor or me, or just videos, or a pamphlet, or some sort of literature. There's nothing wrong with having third-party validation. We all need third-party validation. Third-party validation is where it's at. So I'm not negating third-party validation, but what I am saying is that when you increase your skills and your knowledge and your competence level about these products, about this business, about network marketing, about probiotics, about inflammation, blood sugar, gut health, when you become an expert at those things, guess what? Ain't nobody gonna be coming for you. There's very few times, I can count on one hand how many times someone has come to me and really challenged me in what I'm doing. They know not to come to me and say network marketing is a scam. And that was way before I became a diamond. Like, no one came to me and said that to me. They might have said it behind my back, but to my face, no, 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 no. People weren't coming to me and challenging me on gut health, inflammation, and blood sugar. Because guess what? I learned my stuff. I studied. I studied, I studied, I studied, I studied, I studied. Okay. And so when you become an expert, no one can eat your lunch. So become skilled in those areas. Okay. I'm not saying it has to happen overnight. My skills increased over time. I did not even know what probiotics were when I started Plexus. That's how ignorant I was. So don't think, oh, I could never get as knowledgeable or as skilled as some of these leaders on this team. Yes, you can, because all of us started from ground zero. And I can point out, like, all of my leaders be like, this is what she was doing before Plexus. This is what she was doing before Plexus. This is what she was doing before Plexus. This is what I was doing before Plexus. And all of us are in the same starting point. We all start at the same place, completely ignorant. Ignorant means you are just unaware. We were just unaware. You don't know what you don't know. So now's the time to increase your skills, okay? One of the things I learned years ago was that the uniform of leadership is thick skin. The uniform of leadership is thick skin. Guys, you got to grow a thick skin, okay? You got to grow thick skin. I've always had thick skin, not because I was a leader. I always had thick skin because my dad was not playing around. I had a very strict father, and he said exactly what was on his mind, and I get it from him honestly. And you were forced to have thick skin if you were raised by Robert Kahn. And so I've always had thick skin. But guess what? This business and becoming a better leader over time has also made it where I have grown an even thicker skin. So the uniform of leadership is thick skin, okay? Another tip that I have for you guys, and this is not the crazy thing about all the skills and things, nuggets that I've learned through the vehicle of network marketing, they all literally apply to every other aspect of your life. It's not just this business, okay? You want to maintain your character in all circumstances. Do not stoop to other people's level. Don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Do not stoop to other people's level. I see people where they get really snarky when they grow in their leadership in their business. You know, they get to a certain level in their business and they get real snarky, and they'll do these posts that are kind of like jabs. And at first, you know, they were very humble with this opportunity. And then once they get to a certain place, they start getting real snarky. And it's like, no, you don't need to do that. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. You want to maintain your character at all times, in all circumstances. Also, don't grow jaded, okay? Turn someone else's misbehavior into fuel for you to behave properly, okay? Turn someone else's misbehavior into fuel for you to behave in the way that you know the Lord is calling you to respond, right? You want to show grace, love, and forgiveness as much as you can. You're literally learning to exhibit more fruits of the Spirit every day, okay? Now, the next thing I want to segue into, this is a big one. So a lot of people ask, Robin, how do you get unstuck? How many of you have been stuck in something? Stuck in your business, stuck in a relationship, stuck in some negative space? I've been stuck in my business. Many years I was stuck in my business, okay? How do you get unstuck? Okay, first of all, guys, success is not convenient. Some of y'all want everything to be so convenient. Success is not convenient. Success is inconvenient, okay? One thing that I realized early on in this business was that people are buying into me. People are buying into you first. They are not buying into the product or the company initially. They're buying into you, okay? So when someone decides that they want to start this journey with you, it's usually something about the person. It's something about you that they're drawn to, okay? So this is a relationship business, y'all. It's not just our relationships with others either, but our relationship with ourselves. So what are we putting out there? What are we projecting out to the world? Because it's not just about our relationship with others. How are we projecting who we are, our relationship with ourselves? If you constantly, at least once a week, post something somewhat negative about, oh, woe is me, or this is that and the other, just something just ugh, just not positive. Guess what? That's not going to draw people to you. It's just not. It's going to repel people. And so you always want to keep in mind that it's not just a relationship business about our relationship with others. It's also our relationship with ourselves. Okay. You must get good at getting to know people well, to genuinely getting to know people. Everyone communicates, but few connect. There's a whole book about it that John Maxwell wrote. It's a great one. Everyone communicates, but few people connect. Do you connect with people? Okay. It's one thing to just talk when you're just talking. It's a whole nother thing when you connect with people. When you connect with people, you are bonding with them in a way that makes them remember your encounter with them. Okay. Communicating is different from connecting. Okay. When I am talking to someone, a lot of times my close friends kind of rag me on this because I will ask any question. Okay. I'll ask any question. And I'll ask any question to a complete stranger. Like, I don't care. Like, we don't have to be close. The reason why I do that is because, first of all, good leaders are curious. Good leaders ask questions. Okay. Good people are just generally curious because guess what? They genuinely care about that person. So they want to know more about them. So they ask a lot of questions. Okay. So if you're one of those type of people, like, I'll ask questions, don't ask, don't tell, like, I don't need to know, like, kind of shifting your mindset a little bit. Okay. You want to have a genuine interest in getting to know people. Okay. Now, one thing that success boils down to is two qualities. Okay. Success boils down to two specific qualities. One is warmth. Okay. One is warmth. Are your intentions neutral or are your intentions positive? Okay. Are your intentions neutral? Neutral meaning, good, bad, or indifferent. Or are your intentions positive? A single act of competence is more than overall competence. Okay. Let me keep it. There's still people I'm trying to admit in here. A single act of competence is more than overall competence. Okay. But warmth is different. Okay. A single negative act of warmth will destroy the opportunity to sponsor someone. So a single negative act of warmth will destroy the opportunity to sponsor someone. Okay, so that's how warmth is very different. Okay, warmth is very different. From the beginning, when you meet someone, if they're charming, okay, how many of you have met that person that's just, they're so charming, okay? That can be perceived though as fake. Charm can be conceived and perceived as fake. Okay, you can borrow someone's competence, but you can't borrow someone's warmth. Okay, you can borrow someone's competence. I'm saying competence, not confidence. You can borrow someone's competence, but you can't borrow someone's warmth. Warmth is truly a reflection of who you are. Okay. And warmth is really just saying this, guys. And some of you are kind of confused about what does she really mean by warmth? It really is communicating this to people when you're talking to them. I value you and your time, and I want to make sure you have the most competent person to give you the best experience or give you what you need. Okay. That's what you should be thinking about when you're talking to people on the phone, is that you want to be competent. You do want to know what you're talking about, but you also want to be warm. And this is really important, y'all. I want y'all to follow me on this. A lot of times we're so hyper focused on, okay, I want to make sure I said the right thing. I want to make sure that I, get all the facts right about the products. I don't want to screw up here, blah, blah, blah. And then you've taken the warmth out of the conversation. Don't be weird. Okay. Don't be weird. Just keep it natural. Okay. You're just in conversation with someone. You're just asking them, hey, what are your health goals? Tell me how your family's doing. How are you doing, amidst all this craziness with COVID? Talking to them about their children, how's their family doing, that sort of thing. Most of the time when I get on the phone with people that I'm prospecting or, hopefully getting ready to sign up or get introduced to Plexus, Most of the time, I'm not even talking to them about the product. That usually never even comes up. You know, I ask them what their health goals are, and then I immediately go into what I recommend. But what I do on these calls where I'm breaking down the triplex and this is that and the other, I normally am not doing that at all on the phone with people, because people really just want, they're craving connection. People crave connection. People want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be valued. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Okay. So truly, warmth is a reflection of who you are. Okay, so you really want to keep that at the top of mind when you're talking to people and making those connections with people, especially the initial connection. Okay, now you want to think ultimately about how do you make people feel. Okay, it is easy and it is free to edify others. It's easy and it's free to edify others, y'all. People will work harder for praises than they will do raises. Okay. So you just want to always make sure that when you're talking to people, yes, do you only want to tell people what they want to hear? Absolutely not. Like, that's a whole nother call about having difficult conversations, because that's what real leaders do, is they embrace having difficult conversations with people. Okay. They don't shy away from potential conflict. And I say conflict in quotations because it's not really conflict, but it's like our perception of having to say something that's difficult to say to people. Like it's automatically going to be a conflict. And it's not necessarily, right? People really respect you more for that. But how do you make people feel? All right. Now, competence and warmth, those two qualities, remember I said the two qualities that a lot of times are what success boils down to. These two things equate trust. So when you have competence, you know what you're talking about, right? And you have warmth, right? You show people that you care. Both of those two things combined equate trust. And your business grows at the speed of trust. Your business grows at the speed of trust. Trust is the glue of life, y'all. It really is. So you want people, it's just what I talked about several years ago. We started doing these meetings called like, know, and trust events. We would do these events where we were just like, hey, it was several of us that had been doing plexus for years. And we were like, okay, what's a new way we can expand our network, help people to see that they should like, know, and trust us? Because over a certain period of time, you guys, you'll do this business and you will, I've had people tell me that they've only been doing this 5 or 6 months. I feel like I'm going through my whole network. I'm like, no, you have not gone through your whole entire network. But for some people that maybe they do have a smaller network, in 3 or 4 years, yeah, you would have probably gone through your entire network. Well, guess what? You need to always be expanding your network. But 2, you need to always be building like, know, and trust with people. Okay. When you build like, know, and trust, that's what makes you have influence over people, right? And that's also what makes people drawn to you and attracted to what you're offering. Okay. Because you have built influence with them. All right. That's what this is about. So when you think about building trust, the warmth and the competence, those two things equate trust. Skills, guys, can only take you so far. Okay, skills can only take you so far. It's who you are and how you express yourself and how you show up that creates your character. Okay, it's who you are and how you express yourself and how you show up that creates your character. Okay, we are either pulling people to us or we're pushing people away. Think about, what are you doing? Okay, our job is to find the holes in people's lives. Okay, y'all understand what I'm saying here? Our job is to find the holes. Like, if you're going to be successful at anything, especially in any sort of business, you have to be solving someone else's problem, right? You have to be solving someone's problem. Okay. So you're looking for people's pain points. That's another way to put it. You're looking for either people's pain points or you're finding the holes in people's lives. Our job is to listen in 3D. I want y'all to write that down. Our job is to listen in 3D. So you need to find out people's dreams, their desires, and their discontent. You need to find out people's dreams, their desires, and their discontent. That's how you listen in 3D. You're listening and you're really trying to understand, what are people's desires, what are their dreams, what are their discontent? What is their discontent? When you're figuring those 3 things out, that's how you're able, A, to dig deeper with people. You've made now that connection. You're not just communicating with people, you're now connecting with people. And finding out those things from people in your conversations, whether it's through the initial conversation, peeling back the layers of the onion once you continue to coach them, once they've joined your team or are working the business, that is how you end up making those real lifelong connections with people, okay? Because most people, I cannot tell you the number of people that have said to me personally, Robin, I've never had anybody like ask me these types of questions or, want to know such in-depth information about me. I've never had someone tell me the things that you're telling me about myself. When you get to a place where when someone looks at you in a way that you're really helping them to see themselves in a different light, that is when you're really making a real genuine connection with people, okay? A lot of people don't have that. Another thing is that we need to be able to initiate a different type of conversation with people. That's how you separate yourself from other people, is when you're initiating a different type of conversation with people. How many people, by show of hands, you feel like most of the conversations, most of the connections that you have in your life, maybe up until now, have been very surface? They're just very surface relationships. Like I know a lot of people, I had talked to a lot of people, but everything's very surface. People are craving to go deeper. They're craving for someone to want to go deeper with them. So don't shy away from that, okay? And don't be afraid of that. Now, we can't be listening, y'all, if we're doing all the talking. So let's just kind of rewind a little bit. A lot of us, we never get to this place because all we're doing is talking. We're just doing all the talking. And we do that because a lot of times we hate that awkward silence. Embrace the awkward silence, guys. Allow people to ponder on the questions that you're asking them and allow them to think. That silence is good. Embrace that awkward silence until it's not awkward anymore, okay? So you can't be listening if you're doing all the talking, all right? Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about focus and momentum, okay? So how to get unstuck, all of that I just talked about, connection, really digging deeper with people, that's how you get unstuck. And the most basic thing I can tell you getting unstuck is get into activity. Activity is the cure to any ail in your business, period. Anytime I feel stuck, it's like, okay, Robin, I need to kick things into high gear.
You're like, what's going on?
When I start kicking things into high gear, then that's when I've created that momentum, and then that is making the rest of my team get into momentum, okay? So you want to make sure that you are starting, it always has to start with you, okay? Now, segueing into a little bit different topic, focus and momentum. It's hard, guys, to focus on something that is so minimized in your life. I have a lot of you coming to me or coming to your leader, and I hear, my leader saying to me, oh, this person's saying they're having a hard time focusing or fitting this in. A lot of time fitting this in. It's hard to fit plexus in. It's hard to have the time. I'm so busy and I've got this, and there's always the busy words. Like literally, I hate that word. Everybody's busy, right? Every single person on the planet is busy. Everybody's got a lot of crap going on, right? But guess what? You figure out a way to do things that you prioritize, okay? So it's hard to focus on something that is so minimized in your life. If you minimize your business, if you minimize your goals in this business, you minimize even setting goals so that you're not really held accountable to anything, then guess what? It's not going to be your focus, okay? Focus, you want to focus on what is your seat time. In racing, they call it seat time, okay? How much seat time are you going to have? If you are serious about your business, guys, at minimum, you need to be working at 15 hours a week. So I want every single one of you to inventory, right? Starting, you can go ahead and start it tomorrow. Do Wednesday to Wednesday, okay? And I want you to really write down how many hours a week, and I'm not talking about my Jules. If you're not working 15 hours a week minimum, Jules, I don't have nothing for you. Good luck to you. Hope you stay there. Okay. I'm talking about senior rubies and above, right? Senior rubies and above, you should be working more than 15 hours a week. Guys, if you're making several $1,000s a month with Plexus, that's more than 15 hours a week. Some people work full time and they don't make several $1,000s a month. Legit. I mean, come on, y'all. Who have degrees? People who have degrees. I used to work for a school where I was an assistant principal, and I would have to hire degreed teaching assistants. Okay. TAs, teaching assistants. Most of them had college degrees. Most of them had multiple degrees. They would work 7:30 to 3:30, just like a teacher. Okay. But they weren't the certified teacher, okay? These degreed individuals had a starting pay 5 years ago when I left between $16,000 and $18,000 a year. So if you're making $2,000 a month with Plexus, heck, if you're making $1,000 a month with Plexus, guess what? That's $12,000 to $24,000 a year and your side gig. So guess what? You best believe you need to be setting some hours for yourself. This isn't a lottery ticket, guys. This is a legitimate business, okay? So 15 hours, you really can't fit into the nooks and crannies of your life. You have to set intentional time to work it, okay? So some of you have to get out of, and I'm going to do a whole training very soon on living an entrepreneurial time. You have to change your mindset. A lot of you guys are still in an employee mindset. You work this business as if you're an employee. You're not. You're a business owner, okay? So that's huge. You have to start thinking like a business owner, okay? That's a whole nother call, a whole nother day, okay? Unfulfilled expectation, guys, is the #1 cause of disappointment in business. Unfulfilled expectation. Really, it's the #1 cause of disappointment, period. Not even in business, just in life. Okay? So when we say, I love this. I can't remember where I heard this. But when we say, and I'm talking to the ladies right now, when we say, oh, I'm a working mom, guys, it's implied that work is negotiable. Okay, so think about it. You've never heard of the term working dad, have you? Most men don't say I'm a working dad, but women will say I'm a working mom. Okay, and it's implying that the work is negotiable. No, your Plexus business should not be negotiable. Okay, and so a lot of times we think about things like everything in life becomes negotiable, right? I have to change my beliefs if I feel that way. If you feel like your business is negotiable, and I'll be totally honest with you, there's 68 people on the call, at least 50 of you think that your Plexus business is negotiable. I know because I see the way you treat your business. It's negotiable to you. But yet you moan and complain about not being where you want to be in your business, but it's negotiable. Working this is negotiable for you. Highly successful people do not make these types of things negotiable. It's a non-negotiable, okay? It's a non-negotiable. If you have a size 5 problem, guys, you have to become a size 7 person. So that's where that personal growth comes in, okay? Because the higher you go up in your business, the bigger your problems will get. And that means that you have to be able to be that size 10 person to deal with a size 8 problem, right? If you have a size 8 problem, but you have a leadership level of only a size 5, then guess what? You're going to feel like you're drowning and you're up, you know what, creek without a paddle. You're not going to be able to solve the problem because you got a size 8 problem, but you're not a size 10 leader. Okay. So that's where this personal growth comes in. It's super important, okay? You also have to get to a place, guys, where everything is not a big deal to you. Everybody else's emergency can't be your emergency. When you grow a business and you scale it in the way that my business has been scaled, I cannot allow other people's emergencies to be my emergency. I just can't. It's impossible. Otherwise, I might as well just stayed in education and been an employee. It defeats the whole purpose of me having like time freedom, right? If everybody's emergency is my emergency, okay? So you have to start thinking in the mind of an entrepreneur, okay? In order to create momentum, guys, you have to take away the fear of how to follow up, okay? And how to invite people and how to present. So those are, if you're kind of new in the business and you're like, okay, what can I get better at right now? Okay. Especially as we kind of move into this, these are typically the slower seasons of our business and within Plexus. Just, I know the ebbs and flows of the seasons of our business, and going into fall and the holidays, it does tend to slow down a bit. And then you got this huge surge end of December and going all the way from January to the new year. I mean, January to springtime, summertime. Okay. So we just kind of got out of our peak season and we're kind of slowing down just a little bit. But guess what? In the slower seasons, do you just stop working it? No, because guess what, guys? This is what I see all the time. People slow down because they think the people around them are slowing down, not initially on their team, but just like the people that they're talking to about Plexus. Oh, they're not saying yes, it's getting slow, it's really slow, blah, blah, blah. So they slow down because they feel like everybody else is saying no. And then what happens is their business begins to slope and fall off. And all that momentum and all that growth that they had starting in the spring, early spring, going all through the summer, they lose all of that. And then guess what? Then they're in rebuilding mode come January. And so it's this cycle where you're just, oh, I grow, I fall back, I grow, I take 2 steps forward, I take 3 steps back, I take 2 steps forwards and 3 steps back. You just got to keep going until you get to a place in your business where it honestly will run itself. Okay. That's the whole beauty of residual income. All right. So you want to make sure that you are really thinking about your habits. I talked about that on our Tuesday tip. Your habits, your attitudes, your thoughts, and your beliefs. Okay. You've got to change your beliefs. All right. Last thing, let me see how much more I have. So no, I think I can finish tonight. All right, let me hurry it up so I can make sure I get this done. So I'll have to do a part 3. Okay. You want to, in order to create momentum, remember I said that you want to know you want to really get skilled at how to follow up, how to present, how to invite people to look at what you're offering. Okay. People will do it, right? But you have to train them and make this duplicatable. And so you are going to feel like you're saying the same thing over and over and over again when you're trying to create duplication on your team. So and what I mean by duplication is, in order to build the business, most of you probably have got to gold, maybe by yourself, right? You maybe have one other person that you help to get silver, but for the most part, a lot of people got to gold just by sponsoring 20 people, right? And that's why getting to gold is a really big promotion to get to, because a lot of times at the very beginning of your business, you haven't learned the skill of duplication. And so you really are just going and doing the work on your own, right? But the beauty of the business is not for you to do everything, right? One of the things I learned early on is that residual income, the reason why this is such a beautiful thing working in this industry is because I would rather leverage 1% of 100 people's efforts than to leverage 100% of my own effort. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? You have to leverage 1% of 100 people's efforts instead of leveraging 100% of your own personal effort. That's the whole goal, right? In order for you to leverage 1% of 100 people's efforts, guess what? You have to go then teach people how to do what you're doing over and over and over and over and over again. And that's the reason why I say you will feel like a broken record a lot of times. And a lot of times people's businesses starts to grow. Like a lot of my people, maybe their business was slow for a couple years. Like they could never find a business builder. As soon as they found business builders, and they started to feel like, oh, I got a legit business on my hands now. Okay. But then they complain about well, I have to keep saying the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, welcome to my world. This is what I did for 6.5 years. I said the same thing over and over and over again. That's part of the business, right? And if you want to create better systems, guys, guess what? Do what I haven't done yet. Go and create a whole YouTube channel where you're welcome. You have the same thing. All you do is like, here's the link. Click on the link. Better yet, guys, don't even reinvent the wheel. Utilize our corporate resources. There's so many resources out there that no one taps into. Tap into those, okay? So people are going to do it, but you have to train them and make it duplicatable, okay? We need to teach people the verbiage on how to get wholesale buyers, okay? So you want to teach people exactly what you're doing. And you also need to know this, and I'm going to end with this. 3 things that people love more than money, okay? And this is the secret sauce to the business, okay? 3 things that people love more than money. 1 is belonging. That's why team culture is incredibly important. It's the reason why you have to plug your people in. If you don't, it's a grave mistake, okay? 2 is feeling loved. People love to have a sense of belonging. People 2 love to feel loved. And 3, people love having purpose. If you can provide those 3 things to people, you will have a team for life. That is the reason why, even on a day that I wish I could say, it's canceled, I want to sit back and watch the debate with my husband and laugh at all the things that is the circus of our politics at this stage in the game. As much as I would love to do that, guess what? I'll never not follow through with the commitment. If it's in my power to make it happen, I'm going to make it happen. And kudos to the 69 of you who are on here that decided, even though you want to be watching the debate too, that you committed to your business. You committed to your team by showing up. That means more than you'll ever know. All right? But people love to belong. People love feeling loved. And people love having purpose. There's so many people, I cannot tell you the number, hundreds of people on my team throughout the years that have said that they've either gained purpose by being on this team and being on this journey. They have felt love being on this team and a part of this community, and they have felt a sense of belonging. When you can do that for people, people love those things more than money. Okay? Trust me on that. All right? They can get these 3 things though if you have commitment to your team. If you are flaky, they will not feel that from you. That's the reason why I just said I could not cancel. I cannot cancel. I want my team to know that I'm committed to them, no matter what. Okay? So you can get these 3 things if you have commitment to your team and if you create a community and culture. Okay? If you create a community and culture. People resonate more with your struggles than they do your victories. I know for a fact that's the reason why the Lord made it where it took me almost 7 years to get to Diamond. Because I needed to be an example of someone that people could resonate with, someone that people could relate to, a journey that people could relate to, because I'm the leader of this team, meaning I started before everybody else, okay? Not saying I'm the best leader. I'm saying I'm the first leader of the team, right? The first leader of this team, because I've been doing it for 7 years longer than anybody else. The Lord knew that he had to make my journey a struggle. He knew that he had to, because he knew that I would be setting an example for thousands of others that would come after me, okay? I completely embrace the journey because of it, all right? So be vulnerable, guys. That's the point. Be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the birthplace of love, is the birthplace of belonging, is the birthplace of joy, is the birthplace of courage, is the birthplace of empathy, is the birthplace of accountability, and it's the birthplace of authenticity. Vulnerability is where it's at. That's the reason why we're the cryingest team in Plexus, okay? Vulnerability is huge, okay? Recognize people with your time. Okay? Recognize people with your time. Recognize people with a handwritten card. Recognize people with acknowledgement in front of peers. Recognize people with gifts. Okay? Doesn't have to cost a lot of money at all. Just randomly will stick a pair of earrings in the mail and send to somebody. Not because they were Kendra Scott's and they cost $100, but just because I wanted to let them know I was thinking of them. Okay? It's so important that you understand belonging, purpose, and feeling loved. If you can make people feel those three things and it's actually genuine, it's not contrived, you have a business for life. Okay? And you have people that want to be a part of your journey and a part of the road that you're headed, the road that you're taking. They'll want to be on that road with you. So with that, guys, we will end the call tonight right on time. Can't believe I finished. You guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Let's finish the month strong.
Good night, Robin.
Bye.
Good night.
Great.
Thanks, Robin. Good night.